Did you know that over 37 million Americans are living with diabetes right now? And most of them have no idea that a few simple changes to what they eat could make a bigger difference than they ever expected. Here's something even more important. After the age of 60, your body processes food differently than it did even 10 years ago. Your insulin response slows down, your metabolism shifts, and foods that seemed harmless before can now send your blood sugar climbing in ways that catch you completely off guard. So if you've been feeling frustrated, if you're doing your best but still not seeing the results you want, I want you to know something. It may not be about trying harder. It may simply be about knowing which foods are actually working for your body right now, at this stage of life. Today, we're going to talk about 5 of them. 5 foods that research actually supports for helping manage blood sugar, protect your heart, and keep your energy steady throughout the day. Now, before we dive in, I want to be clear about something. Food is powerful, genuinely powerful, but it works best alongside your doctor's guidance. So please, use this video as a starting point for a conversation with your healthcare provider, not a replacement for one. Every person's body is different, and what works beautifully for one person may need to be adjusted for another. That said, the 5 foods we're covering today are well supported by research and widely recommended by dietitians and diabetes specialists across the country. So let's get into it. Let's start with something you probably already have in your kitchen: leafy greens. And I know you've probably heard this before, but here's something most people your age don't fully realize. Leafy greens like spinach, kale, and collard greens are particularly valuable for people with type 2 diabetes because of something called magnesium. Now, magnesium is a mineral that plays a very direct role in how your body processes insulin, and studies have found that many people with type 2 diabetes are actually low in magnesium without even knowing it. When your magnesium levels drop, your cells don't respond to insulin as well as they should, and that makes blood sugar harder to control, even if you're doing everything else right. Leafy greens are one of the richest natural sources of magnesium you can find anywhere. On top of that, they're extremely low in calories and carbohydrates, so they won't spike your blood sugar at all. In fact, you can eat a generous, satisfying portion of spinach or kale, and your glucose levels will barely move. Doctors often recommend building at least 1 meal a day around leafy greens, whether that's a simple salad at lunch, a quick stir-fry at dinner, or even blending a handful into a morning smoothie. It's one of the simplest, most affordable, and most effective changes you can make, and the benefits come quickly. Many people notice a difference in how they feel within just a few weeks of eating more greens consistently. Now, the next one might genuinely surprise you, and that's fatty fish. If you've been thinking about diabetes management as mostly about cutting carbs and sugar, here's the interesting part. Inflammation plays a huge and often underappreciated role in type 2 diabetes. Chronic, low-grade inflammation in the body makes it harder for your cells to respond to insulin properly. It's like a kind of background noise that your body can never quite shut off. And as we get older, that inflammation tends to increase naturally. This is exactly where fatty fish comes in. Salmon, sardines, mackerel, and trout are all rich in omega-3 fatty acids, and research suggests that omega-3s are among the most effective natural anti-inflammatory compounds we know of. Studies have found that people who regularly eat fatty fish have lower levels of inflammatory markers in their blood, better insulin sensitivity, and a significantly reduced risk of heart disease. And that last part matters a great deal, because people with type 2 diabetes are 2 to 4 times more likely to develop heart disease than those without it. Protecting your heart isn't optional when you have diabetes. It's essential. Eating fatty fish 2 or 3 times a week is something many doctors recommend as part of a diabetes-friendly diet. And if fresh fish isn't always practical or affordable, canned sardines or canned salmon are just as nutritious and significantly more budget-friendly. Don't overlook them. Here's one that most people are confused about, and that's avocado. This is one that tends to make people a little nervous. because avocados are high in fat, and many people with diabetes have been told for years to watch their fat intake. But here's what most people miss completely. Not all fat is created equal, not even close. The fat in avocados is primarily monounsaturated fat, the same heart-healthy kind found in olive oil. And this type of fat actually helps your body use insulin more effectively, not less. Beyond the healthy fat, avocados are loaded with fiber, and fiber is one of the single most important nutrients for blood sugar control. Here's why that matters. When you eat fiber alongside carbohydrates, the fiber slows down how quickly those carbohydrates are digested and released into your bloodstream. That means instead of a sharp, uncomfortable spike in blood sugar after a meal, you get a slower, much gentler rise. Research suggests that people who eat more fiber consistently have measurably better long-term blood sugar control. Avocados also have a very low glycemic index, which means they have almost no direct impact on blood sugar themselves. And one more thing worth mentioning, they're incredibly filling. If you add half an avocado to your lunch, you'll likely feel satisfied for much longer, which naturally reduces the urge to reach for snacks that could send your glucose climbing. You can slice it onto eggs in the morning, spread it on a piece of whole grain toast, or mix it into a salad with some leafy greens. It pairs beautifully with so many things. It's one of the most versatile and helpful foods for anyone managing type 2 diabetes. This fourth one is something I get asked about all the time: blueberries. And I completely understand why people are confused about this one. When you've been told to limit sweet foods and watch your sugar intake carefully, fruit can feel like the enemy. But here's something really important to understand. Not all fruit affects blood sugar the same way. Blueberries have a relatively low glycemic index, which means they cause a much slower and smaller rise in blood sugar compared to most other sweet foods or fruit juices. But what makes blueberries truly special goes even deeper than that. It's something called anthocyanins, the natural compounds that give blueberries their beautiful deep blue color. Studies have found that anthocyanins may actually improve insulin sensitivity directly at the cellular level. One well-known clinical study found that people who consumed blueberry smoothies regularly over several weeks showed measurable, significant improvements in how well their bodies responded to insulin. Research also suggests that the powerful antioxidants in blueberries help reduce oxidative stress throughout the body, which is another key factor that quietly worsens insulin resistance over time. A small handful of fresh or frozen blueberries, about half a cup, is a perfectly reasonable daily serving that gives you all of these benefits without sending your blood sugar on a roller coaster. They're wonderful mixed into plain Greek yogurt, stirred into a bowl of oatmeal in the morning, or simply eaten on their own as a naturally sweet and satisfying snack. Frozen blueberries work just as well as fresh ones, by the way, and they're available year-round at a lower cost. And finally, this last one might be the most overlooked food on this entire list: lentils and beans. Lentils, black beans, chickpeas, kidney beans. These humble, simple, affordable foods are among the most powerful things you can eat when managing type 2 diabetes. Here's why they work so well. They contain a unique and remarkable combination of complex carbohydrates, plant-based protein, and soluble fiber, all three working together to create one of the slowest, most gradual rises in blood sugar of almost any food you can eat. The soluble fiber in beans actually forms a kind of natural gel in your digestive system that physically slows the absorption of sugar into your bloodstream. That's not a small thing. That's your body getting real, meaningful protection against blood sugar spikes at every single meal. And the protein content means you feel full and satisfied for a long time after eating. Studies have found that regularly eating legumes, which is the broader category that includes all lentils and beans, is associated with better long-term blood sugar control, lower cholesterol levels, and a meaningfully reduced risk of heart disease. Doctors often recommend a simple but effective swap: replacing 1 or 2 servings of refined carbohydrates per week, things like white rice or white bread, with a serving of lentils or beans. Most people barely notice the difference in taste, but the impact on blood sugar over time can be significant. Lentil soup, bean salads, or simply adding black beans to scrambled eggs or a rice dish are all easy, satisfying, and delicious ways to work these into your weekly routine without feeling like you're on a diet. So let's bring everything together, because I want you to walk away from this video with something simple, clear, and actually usable. The 5 foods we talked about today, leafy greens, fatty fish, avocado, blueberries, and lentils or beans, each work in their own way. But what they all share is this: they help your body manage blood sugar more gently and effectively. They fight the inflammation that makes diabetes harder to control. They protect your heart, and they help you feel satisfied after meals without overwhelming your system. You don't need to eat all 5 of them every single day. That's not the goal. Even adding 2 or 3 of them more consistently into your weekly meals can make a real, noticeable difference over time. Small, steady changes. That's what actually works for the long haul. Not overnight overhauls. Not rigid, joyless rules. Just a little more of the right things. A little more often. I know that managing type 2 diabetes can feel like a full-time job sometimes. There are days when it's genuinely exhausting. But I hope today's video reminded you that the food on your plate can be one of your most powerful allies. Not something to fear, not something to fight, but something to work with. You have more control than you might think. And every good choice you make, even a small one, adds up over time. So I'd love to hear from you now. Leave a comment below and tell me, which of these 5 foods do you already eat regularly, and which one are you planning to add in this week? I read every comment, and it means a lot to hear from you. And if you found today's video helpful and want more honest, research-based health information made specifically for people like you, please subscribe to this channel. We share new videos every single week, all focused on helping you feel stronger, live better, and take care of yourself with real confidence. Thank you so much for watching today. You're doing something good for yourself just by being here. Take good care.